What is up, good people? Jungle Link here. Hope you're doing well. I was browsing around on Ripple.com, as I do from time to time, just to keep an eye on what they're doing, what are they up to. And when I went to the payments section of their website where they described their services, they stripped off all mention of XRP, and it used to be front and center. This is a screenshot of what it used to look like. They had XRP front and center right there in their payment flows, and they were telling the world, when we send a payment, we're using XRP. It doesn't say that anymore. They just say, hey, our payments are done in 3 seconds, and they're very cheap, and they describe the service, but they do not reference XRP. So the question is why? And, we don't know. There's no way to know for sure. I don't think it's anything nefarious. I think what it is in that, judgment, it said those ODL transactions were securities offerings. And so I think what they're doing is they're just really making sure that, if they were to look at this issue again for any reason, it's going to be much harder to say this is a security offering of XRP when your customers literally know nothing about XRP. They just know payments are fast and cheap. And I think that's all they're doing. They're being extra careful. I don't think it means they're not using XRP anymore or they're not using the XRP ledger. I think it's as simple as that. For legal reasons, they just want to say, look, we make payments fast and cheap. Are you interested or not? And I think that's it. And so, in my opinion, that's what they're doing there. Just interesting. And when you see stuff like this, take note of it and, just keep an eye on things. How are things progressing? It's interesting they stripped XRP off of their website. In and of itself, I don't think it's a big deal, but it's something to note and keep tracking and keep an eye on. CFTC charging Uniswap with illegal derivatives trade. So they were doing some sort of leverage trading on Uniswap. The CFTC said those need to be registered. And this is what a regulator should do. Look, they fined them $175,000. Not a minor amount of money, but for Uniswap, it's literally nothing. And what did this accomplish? They communicated their opinion on those types of trades. And Uniswap had the ability to, if they didn't agree, if they want to continue that service without registering, they could have went to court. But they're just going to cease doing that, pay the fine. And now you have communicated to everyone your standpoint on that issue. And people have to make the decision, do they agree or not? But that's what a regulator should do. They're bringing a fine. It's not free, but it's something minor. The bigger issue is you are communicating to everyone. If you're doing this type of leverage trading, that should be registered with the CFTC. And then if people continue, then, you have to go to court and fight over that issue. But this is really what the SEC should be doing. If they don't like what you're doing, state specifically what it is, attach some fines and penalties, and then it's up to the crypto platform either to settle out or to disagree and go to court. This is the way they should operate going forward. Really interesting news here. So Ripple, the deadline to pay off that massive, $125 million fine from the final judgment there in the SEC court case is up. And instead of paying it, they didn't pay it directly. They put that money in an account. They still own it, but they're not really controlling it. It's just sitting there. But it's not going over. It's not being transferred to the SEC. And the question is why? And there's a lot of opinions on this. In my mind, it's still just holding as much leverage as you can. Now, that's a final judgment. That's not going to change. That dollar amount has been deemed by the judge. But still, you haven't handed the money over. We're staring at this. Do we want to go to appeals or not? Is Ripple really willing to take it all the way to the end? And I think it's just holding as much power as you can. You still have the money. The SEC does not. What are you going to do here? Because remember, this ain't a freebie. This comes at a big cost. Every month that money sits in that account and does not get paid to the SEC, there's a $125 million balance that's accruing interest. Comes out to be about $1 million a month. This is significant, especially if they were going to hold on to that money all the way through appeals. Now, at any point in time, they could just transfer it over and say, hey, we're paying off the balance. But every single month that they do not, it's going to cost them $1 million more, unless they went to appeals and, of course, won. It either got rid of all of those fines and penalties, which I don't think is likely, or they got it reduced. Okay, fair enough, But I think it's just a power move. And it is, in some ways, a negotiation move to, do you really want to mess with us? Because we're ready to be aggressive here. We are ready to go to appeals and fight you to the very bitter end, and we're not just going to hand over the money, even though I'm sure they would gladly do so and just end this thing. Will it be appealed or not? It just depends on what the SEC really wants to do here, what's their plans going forward, and how much do they think this court case will really affect them and their Coinbase and Kraken, and who knows what's going through Gary Gensler's reptilian mind. We'll see as we go forward. Again, my opinion. It's better if it ends. Hopefully it does. But if it does not, it's not going to cause delistings and all this stuff. It won't be as catastrophic as it was last time around. We can deal with it. No big deal. Really interesting announcement by SUI. They're going to be using radio waves for offline crypto transactions, specifically focusing on those areas that don't have, mobile networks or wired internet, a way to bring banking to those types of areas. I think this is going to be a really fun chain, a lot of inventive stuff going on. I'm wondering if they're using helium to do this. I don't know. But anyway, I thought this was a really cool use case, and we'll see it progress forward. But I think you're going to see a lot of stuff like this out of SUI, just being really inventive how you use blockchain. Lastly, Bitcoin right now is down 10% post-halvening. A lot of people are saying, what the heck? I thought this halvening was supposed to affect the price of Bitcoin, and we're going down. What is this about? This is usually how it works. Now, maybe this time is different. Maybe it has no effect, but typically, that cut in supply creates a price appreciation over time. Demand is rising, supply is shrinking, and we know what happens there, and then the whole market runs with it. Right as we sit at this point in time, this is playing out about like normal. We should see some significant movement towards the end of this year as we really explode into 2025 if it plays out anything like it has in the past. Again, I said post-halvening, you won't see anything. You'll be looking around saying, wow, that was a dud. No, that's what it usually does. And then you see this big swell as we kind of hit the end of the year, some months after. So we'll see how it plays out. But to me, this is playing out about like it should have been expected. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.